Hey, it's Vaz here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to my review of the Thunder Tiger Bushmaster 8E. Now this is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive brushless buggy that comes ready to run with a 100 amp waterproof ESC, a 2000 kV ripper motor and a fairly standard steering servo up the front to point it in the right direction. Now you'll see here on the bench that I've got both the standard Bushmaster as well as the Bushmaster 8E, and that's really because I'm going to be drawing some comparisons between the two. I have reviewed this one in the past, and of course I'll have links in the video description for this car and all its previous videos, as well as the 8E and all its previous videos if you want to catch up before you continue on with this review. Now to try and keep this fairly short and condensed, let's move straight into the electrics. For the electrics, I gave this one a 5 out of 5. I really have no issues with the radio provided with this car. Steering servo, although it's fairly standard and fairly average servo, it actually performed reasonably well. It did the job and I really saw no need to replace it. Motor and ESC, reliable as a hammer as always, with the 2000 kV ripper motor and what I believe is a rebranded Quick Run Hobbywing ESC. Absolutely no problems there, so hence the reason why I gave it a 5 out of 5. Moving on to drivetrain, again I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. No issues with diffs, drive shafts, bearings or anything of the sort. Gears held up perfectly fine, and I really have no complaints about the drivetrain. I think it's very solid. Thunder Tiger have done a very good job with this one. Handling, I also gave this one a 5 out of 5. And now this is where I'm going to start sort of comparing the two cars. The Bushmaster 8, the standard Bushmaster rather, is very much a recreational vehicle. It's a basher vehicle. It doesn't really fit into any racing class of any sort. The handling characteristics of this, although they were brilliant, it's designed more for bashing. This one here comes with a slightly softer setup, and you can really tell that this is really designed to be on a racetrack, an RC racetrack. Although I did take it out to the BMX track and it held its own, I could definitely tell that it did not have the same sort of caliber in the bashing category as the standard Bushmaster. So if you are going to be running this on a much smoother surfaces, or you're going to be, perhaps entering into beginner 1/8 scale buggy class somewhere in your area, this is probably not a bad option to go for, because it is set up brilliantly out of the box. Comes with some really good tires, which are really not designed for on-road or for any sort of really rough gravel or even grass or anything like that. These are really designed for fine gravel, sandy surfaces. That's where this car really excels, and I think Thunder Tiger have done a really good job setting it up for that application. So that's why I give the handling a 5 out of 5. It is absolutely brilliant in its element. Durability, again, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. Had no issues with the car whatsoever. As I said, nothing went wrong with the drivetrain, and I didn't break any other components on it either. So shock shafts held up perfectly fine, A-arms, shock towers, you name it. Everything held up on this car. Really have no complaints about it regarding the durability. Maintenance. This is a standard 1/8 scale buggy layout, so maintenance is fairly standard. It may not be as easy as some of the more modern vehicles out there, but definitely there's nothing here that should really surprise you as far as maintaining the vehicle and working on it. And there's really no initial setup that you need to do to it to really enjoy the car. So my maintenance category does get a little bit confusing sometimes for people, because it's referring to maintenance, but it's really, do you need to buy new tires for it? Do you need to refill the shocks when you first get it out of the box? None of these things really need to be done, and the setup out of the car, aside from adjusting the suspension stiffness on the springs here for your shock collars, there's really no other setup that you need to do to it, at least for just some general running and to really enjoy the car for what it is. Again, Thunder Tiger have done a really good job here with the setup of the car. Now, this is where the scores, the 5 out of 5 scores, are actually going to take a bit of a break, because for part support, I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. And the main reason for that is because you can really buy parts, you can really only buy parts for Thunder Tiger cars online at the moment. I know that the Australian distributor that used to stock the Thunder Tiger vehicles, they're pretty much getting rid of all of them. Thunder Tiger is all but extinct here in this country, unfortunately, and you're really only going to find parts at places like Dollar Hobbies, eBay, or perhaps even get them directly from Thunder Tiger. So it's a bit of a shame, because I remember a time when even Tower Hobbies used to stock Thunder Tiger vehicles, and now they're very, very difficult to find in hobby shops, and they're becoming more and more rare out there in the interwebs. So hopefully this will change in the future. Hopefully Thunder Tiger can do something in the future to kind of bring the brand back and make it more accessible to the public, because at the moment, very tough to get a hold of, at least in this country. Obviously in other parts of the world you may have a different opinion there, but for this country here, it's a little bit tricky to find parts for Thunder Tiger. But if you can live with buying them online or getting them directly from the Thunder Tiger website, then this is definitely a car worth looking into. Now for value. Now, as far as value goes, you've got to weigh up what you're paying for and what you're getting, plus any sort of issues such as part support. And for this one, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I know that part support does bring the score back a little bit, but you got to look at it from my perspective here. At the moment, on the Thunder Tiger website, this is $319 US, which equates to about 420 something dollars Australian roughly. And I believe they may be offering free shipping with the 4S version. I'm not 100% sure. I did sort of try to go to it, but I couldn't get an estimate without logging in and getting all my details in there. So that may be a little bit iffy, but for 420 bucks Australian to get something that's as good as this, that's unheard of, because I think that the cheapest one I think is the Armour Typhon here in Australia, and that retails for just under 600 bucks. So this comes in very well priced. Although I know the Typhon's a 6S version, but for $420, and you can get yourself a nice car, very well set up out of the box, and obviously you can run at a club level even. I think that's a brilliant thing to have, and a very good value from Thunder Tiger. But of course, you do need to take that with a grain of salt because of the part support issue. So that's something you need to look at. But the car is very tough. It handles very well. So you got to weigh it up which way you want to go. The 6S version doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. I think Thunder Tiger have got it on their website for like $469, which brings it up to well over, I think it's $550, 600 bucks Australian, something like that. I can't quite remember, don't quote me on it, but you can have a look at the Thunder Tiger website and have a look for yourself. I don't usually quote prices on my reviews because prices fluctuate, and then there's sales, and then there's discount codes, and some guy can get it cheaper somewhere else, so it can be a little bit all over the place as far as pricing goes. So you really need to weigh it up on your own. For me personally, I think Thunder Tiger have actually done a very good job with this car. I don't think it's as much of a basher as this is, but it does handle very well, and it can still take a beating. So I think they've done a very good job with this one. If you are planning on taking the Bushmaster to the track more so than to the skate park or your backyard or the BMX track. So for those of you playing at home, the overall score here is 31 out of a potential 35, which equates to about 88.57%, and that brings it in just under 9 out of 10. Which is actually a very, very good score for this car. As I said, its biggest downside at the moment is its part support, and that's really where it lets it down. If it wasn't for that, this would almost be the perfect buggy at the perfect price as it is. So very well done to Thunder Tiger, and hopefully they'll continue to bring these out, and hopefully we'll be able to have access to these cars in the future and parts as well. That is it for this review. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And as always, check out the video description for more information on both cars, as well as links to their previous videos, and of course links to my social media pages such as Facebook, Instagram, and of course Patreon if you want to jump on board and help out the channel. Thank you again for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.